Hello again team, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin and welcome back for another video. Today I have an August plan with me for you guys, but this one isn't in my journal, it's in the journal that I set up as part of our giveaway for back in June. The idea that I was going with for this journal is that all of the pages I set up work along the idea of being kind of like a colouring book style. So only using black line work, which means in theory the person who got this journal could then colour it in using their own pens. This means there wouldn't be any awkward mismatched colours from me using pens that I own that they don't own. In terms of the theme for August in this journal though, I decided to go with citrus fruits. This is a theme that I've wanted to do for myself for a while now, but hadn't actually gotten around to it. This theme was one of the most popular when getting ideas for what kind of themes I should have in this journal. And I can certainly say that making these layouts has made me even more eager to do a citrus theme in my journal. Here on the cover page though, you can see that I opted in to do a wreath design. This one being made up of whole pieces of fruit, sliced fruits, fruit wedges, and leaves. To add some visual interest, I also put some scattered little circles around the wreath. This kind of gives me a feeling of like lemonade bubbles, which I think suits the theme well. In terms of timing, from first touch of the pen to final erasings, this page took me about 20 minutes. But of course that doesn't include the sketching in time or the idea generation time. Of course it would have taken longer if I was adding colour, and the stippling that I did on the lettering certainly added to the time. With the cover page done though, it was time to flip over to the monthly log. For all of the monthly logs in this journal, I'm going with a calendar style, where each of the boxes are 6 squares across by 6 squares down. The fun, or maybe slightly annoying thing about August this year is that it starts on a Sunday, which means, in having 31 days, this calendar actually goes across 6 weeks. To accommodate the 30th and 31st, which would have been on the 6th row, I've just put these on the top row instead. This is something that I commonly do for months that go across 6 weeks, because it still gives me space above the calendar to put in things like the initials for each day of the week, and the page heading. Just like every page in this setup, I did decorate this one with citrus fruits. So we have a decorative panel running down the right hand side, and then I continued those little circles all over the page, which still to me look like lemonade bubbles. For any of the smaller circles in this setup, I was okay to go in and freehand those, but for the bigger pieces of citrus fruit that I have down the right hand side, I decided to instead make use of my circle stencil. Although citrus fruits are round, they are still organic shapes, so I didn't want to use my circle stencil for the entire way around, and instead I decided to leave some gaps where I could freehand between segments of the circle. This helped the fruits to look slightly imperfect and thus a bit more realistic. On these cut segments of fruit, I also decided to do some line work in the fleshy part of the fruit. Although it was time consuming, I do certainly think it was worth it, and I think that these fruits ended up looking a lot better with the addition of those lines. After adding more of those little lemonade bubbles all over the page, the monthly log was then done. This meant it was then time to flip on over to the habit tracker and mood tracker. For this month's habit tracker, I went with the mini calendar design, opting in to write out all of the numbers for every day of the month. This took quite a while, which means that the habit tracker came in at about 27 minutes from first touch of the pen. This one has space for 12 habits, which can be marked as complete by colouring or circling the corresponding number. I figured filling it in that way kind of helps to tie it into the citrus fruit theme. So for instance, if you were using colour, you could do little yellow circles, little orange circles, little green circles, etc. And each of these would end up looking kind of like a little fruit. As per the other pages of the setup, I went with that faux calligraphy style header with the stippling, and then the habit tracker was done and it was on to the mood tracker. For this one, I started by putting a bar at the bottom of the page, which can be used as a key, so having best moods on one side and worst moods on the other, using some kind of a colour scale. The way this one works is that I'll have doodles of slices of citrus fruit, with enough fruit segments for each day of the month. This was a little bit challenging to do, as 31 isn't divisible by 3, but it meant for one of the fruit wedges I just put in an extra segment. Once I'd placed all of the fruit slices in, I then decorated around these with some additional little fruit doodles, and more of those little circles. In terms of timing, this one took 35 minutes from first touch of the pen, And that time was certainly increased by going in and putting all of those line details in all of the fruit segments. Not to say it wasn't worth it, it was just a little time consuming. I think this citrus fruit theme is really fun and also really approachable because really it's just a whole bunch of geometric shapes, which once you add some details into, end up looking really cool. Question of the day for you guys though, what is your favourite fruit? I think in the form of juice, my favourite would be orange, but in the form of an actual piece of fruit to eat, I'm a total sucker for cut up apples. Especially cut up green apples. For our final flip through though, we have the cover page, the calendar style monthly log, the mini calendar style habit tracker, and the mood tracker. I really enjoyed doing this setup and I'm looking forward to eventually doing a citrus theme in my own bullet journal. Hopefully you guys liked it too, and if you did, please do make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. If you hadn't already and felt so inclined, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more on planning, productivity, and personal development. And until next time, team, bye!